Hi, I'm Ashley. This is Amy, and together we are the Beauty Perks. I don't even know where to start.
Well, I mean, you came in as a client. What made you want to come to me as
So,
a client?
I had been box coloring my hair for just a couple of years, and I always did this bright, dark, not bright and dark, don't sound right, but this bold auburn that I always put all over my head, which now I know is a huge no-no. But my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law both had been telling me, you need to go see our hairdresser. She's really good. She's real local. Her prices are good, yada, yada, yada. And then, so I said, fine, I'll go do it. And then I walk into this woman's salon, not knowing what I know now. And I sit down with my box colored auburn hair. And I say, I want to be blonde. And she didn't say no. She said, she did it. I mean, I don't know. We sat there for what? It was like 7-8 hours. I know I had many calls from my husband. Are you done yet?
But she got what she wanted.
I did.
She got what
and
she
it was beautiful. And I'll put pictures somewhere on the screen whenever.
Put it there.
Was that there? But we were there for a very long time, and one of her other hairstylists checked me out. So I just left, and I was like, oh my gosh, that price was really good. I was there for a long time. And then I get a phone call the next day, and this poor girl.
Yeah, because I flipped out when we were closing. Yeah. I was like, you did what? What? Wait a minute. You're going to call her ass back.
So, poor Carla. She had to call me back, and I got the voicemail because I was at work when she called me. I know she probably thought we're never going to see that girl.
Let's pause for a minute and just props to Carla. Carla, we miss you. I miss you so much. But you did a great job.
Come see us when you come back to Kentucky.
Yes.
Because that's all.
We do.
Yeah, if you ever see this. But Carla had to call me back and be like, so I didn't charge you right, and this is how much you owe. I don't remember how much it was. She said, this is how much is still owed. I'm so sorry. I didn't think anything of it. Will you come back at your convenience and pay the rest?
No, give me your money.
Yeah, she said it very nice, and you could just tell on the phone that she was like very apprehensive, because I would be too. And they probably thought they were never going to see me again. Well, I pulled up right after I got off work, and I was like, here you go.
And knowing what I know now, like, she was probably like, oh, I got to go pay this one.
Yeah.
But honestly, I didn't think.
I didn't even think to question it when she told me. So, I mean, I should have, now looking back, I should have been like, are you sure that's really low? But I didn't know anything about what hair costs, because I'd been doing my own for so long. But I went back and I paid it, and I even gave extra tip, I think, because I didn't know how much I was supposed to tip. So I went home and I researched how much.
Did you really?
Yes, I went home and researched what a normal tip was, and I even gave her extra tip because I was like, I had way under tipped her, not only because the price wasn't right, but I didn't know. Not a lot of people know that gratuity is for hairdressers as well. And I was one of those that I didn't know that. And I apologize to every single hairdresser I've ever had that I didn't tip, because I didn't know. I'm so sorry.
A lot of people don't know. And then they don't know how to tip either.
Absolutely.
They're like, how much should I give?
Right.
You know?
And I never know how to answer that question. It's just,
how do you don't.
Also, if there's need or want for it, we can make another video on why gratuity is important in the hairstyling industry.
Let us know.
Because I know a lot of people are like, the prices are so high, why should I put gratuity on top of it? We can kind of sit down and make a video on how, and explain, not like all of our overhead and everything, but just explain why gratuity is important in our industry.
Yeah.
So to go off from there, so I've been coming to Amy a couple of times, and I had been wooed by her vivid hair. So I said, I want that too. So I've been blonde for all of like 2 months. And eventually, after the first couple of times, I trusted her enough to sit down in her chair. Because after, that first 7, 8 hours, you know somebody.
Yeah.
If you spend like a whole day with somebody, you know them. So I trusted her well enough to sit down and say, do whatever you want. And she did. And I'll put a picture of that somewhere. So I've been coming to her a few times. She talked me into the vivid hair and not really talked me into it, but I kind of talked myself into it. But we eventually got to talking about makeup and weddings and how I would love to go to esthetician school. And she kind of convinced me that not really that going to esthetician school was a waste of time.
Well, let's backpedal a little bit because I
Yeah.
had ulterior motives
Yeah.
for all this. I was doing weddings by myself. All right.
With Carla.
Yes, but Carla was leaving.
Yeah.
So it was gonna, and I still had weddings to do. So
Yeah.
it was gonna be me by myself with
Right.
multiple girls on a time schedule.
Right.
And I have seen her her post like Facebook from where she would do her makeup and her hair and post pictures, and I'm like, damn, she's good at her makeup. I'm horrible at makeup. Like I can do somebody's hair, but when it comes to makeup, that's just not my bag, man. I'm just not good at it.
Everybody's got their thing.
So when she had mentioned something about doing that, it was kind of also like I asked her one day if she would like to come to a wedding with me and just do makeup. So I was like, I don't need you to do their hair. I just want you to do their makeup. So she agreed to do that. And then I think you kind of started enjoying doing that.
Right.
And that's where the whole esthetician come to play.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, don't do that.
You don't want to do that.
You want to do hair.
So I kind of pondered on that for a while, and I know I had thought about it in the past, but I'd had a previous hairdresser that I'd asked the last time, and she just completely, and no hate or anything to that hairstylist. I get now why you were in the situation, or not why you were in the mindset that you were in. She completely talked me down off the ledge.
Just like, don't do it.
Like, don't do it. She said it's very hard when you first get out and you're trying to build a clientele, you're trying to find a salon to go into, and it's a lot more difficult than people think. So it wasn't, I don't think, trying to talk me out of it. I think it was just trying to prepare me, like, this is how it is. Don't think that it's all rose gardens and rainbows.
And a lot of that is because it's a cutthroat industry.
It is.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So you got very lucky.
Yeah.
I know how it is to be in that other side,
right.
And it's cutthroat and it's very, very hard, and it takes years to build up a clientele. And I had always been at that mindset that anybody that was going to come work for me, I was going to make it to where they didn't have to go through what I went through.
Right.
So you just got lucky because you met me. That's all that was.
And that's another thing where I just, like she was talking about earlier, God throws things in our path sometimes that it's just meant to be and it all works out. And that was just one of those things. And the factory that I was in at the time had made some changes. Some of them I wasn't so happy with. And I got so fed up that I basically came home and started researching beauty schools and found one that I thought about applying to. My husband came home. I said, I'm quitting my job and going to hair school. And he was just, I already had everything laid out. I had a budget. While he was at work, I was writing out a budget.
Complete opposite of me. Like, hey, I'm opening up a business. You had a whole outline.
I had a whole outline. I'm a very much like, we're very polar opposites. Opposites attract. Like, I'm somebody that has to sit down and pre-plan everything. Like, I had our budget planned out with just his income based on like the average check that he made. And
I didn't know that. Did you really?
Yeah. So, and at the time, it just kind of fell into place because we were in a situation where we were living with my mother-in-law, who is the reason that I went to Amy in the first place. But I won't get into all of that personal information just because I don't know if she would be okay with me putting that out there. But we were there to kind of help each other out. And so our bills were very low. So I saw this as an opportunity while we can financially handle it, especially with having 2 kids and everything else, there was no other way I was going to be able to do it. Everything fell into place. And it was, I mean, nothing other than God. So, anyways, after that long trail off, I texted Amy. I said, hey, what beauty schools are good? So she told me about PJ's. And she said, whenever you get out, you know you've got a job, right? And I just, for whatever reason, I didn't even, I don't know, I feel like I felt unworthy. Like I would have to figure everything, I've always figured everything out on my own. So I've never had things fall into place like they have. So as soon as she sent me that message, like, you know, when you get out, you've got a job, I was just like, really? Really? You're going to give me a job?
I mean, that was the whole reason I was like, yeah, go to hair school, go to hair school.
And I'm sitting here, like, I was in a very different mindset back then. Very, very, very much. Because I was, what, 24, 25?
You're a pup.
I was, 6 years doesn't seem like a long time ago. But the amount of time that we grow in that time, especially in those late 20s.
Well, not only that, but everything that kind of
everything that's happened
with
yeah,
while you're
absolutely
aging.
It makes us who we are. But I was in a very different mindset at that time, and so I bit the bullet and I quit my job very strategically. I waited until the start of the new year, already had everything ready to go. And then I took my 2 weeks of vacation starting when I started school. And then it's the first day of my vacation, I put in my 2 weeks.
So you still got paid for your vacation?
So I got paid, yeah. So I technically still was employed there my first 2 weeks of school, and I was still getting a paycheck.
Heck yeah.
So
that was strategically thinking.
Absolutely. So after that, I think I will let Amy go on with what happened behind the scenes while I was there.
I do want to say one thing. Like, while I was not really trying to convince her to go to hair school, my thing is, and don't get me wrong, we need factory workers, right? But like, I seen so much potential in her, and it's like, you do not want to spend the rest of your life working in a factory, because a lot of factory workers, they get in there and they get stuck. And they end up spending their entire lives working in a factory. And it's like, you're so young. I mean, you're a baby. I'm old. I'm going on 50. So it's like, you're so young. And it's like, I don't want to see you waste your life away working in a factory.
Right.
So it was like, I kept telling her that you don't want to spend the rest of your life in a factory. So I'm sure me in her ear and her wanting more out of her career kind of really put it in high gear for you.
I think at the end of the day, I figured out for myself, that's one of my many flaws. People can tell me something over and over and over again, but I'm going to figure it out for myself. Yeah. So I loved my job. I loved knowing how things are put together, how to fix things. I absolutely loved working on the line. I loved being a team lead. It was just, I loved my job.
She took a major pay cut to come into this industry, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
She probably hates me every day for that, too.
No, I don't. I feel more fulfilled at the end of the day than I did making a seat. Or 300.
I appreciate the seats that you made. I get to work on that seat. So while she was in school, I had to move out of the White House. And if you all want to hear a whole other video on how that all went down, please comment in the section below, because that's got some good tea involved in why they did not want to renew the lease and why I really was not going to renew my lease there. So then I had to find another place to go. And that brought me to over in the main area of, it's not really town. What do you call it? Is it town? I mean, Shelbyville's kind of weird. You got your little downtown area, and then you got like the city area that's not really, is it in the city?
I would just call it West Shelbyville.
Okay, so we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
And there's an Italian restaurant in the same parking lot. And so there was it was divided into, it was one whole big building, but it was divided into two.
Building?
Yeah, big building. And it was divided into two, so I took that side. and I opened up another salon again for the third time. And so while she was in school, I was hanging on by the skin of my teeth because at this point it was just me. It was only me operating and owning the salon. And so everything I was doing, service wise, product wise, was going right back into this business. And I was barely keeping it afloat. My husband, every single day, you need to quit. You need to find you a real job. That's what he kept saying to me. You need to find a real job. So I even went and got my CDL on spare time. It sounds so weird because it's like, when did I even have spare time to do this?
Right.
But I did, and started driving a school bus for Shelby County in the mornings and in the afternoon. And so what I would do is I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go get the kids, take them to school, go to the shop with the bus, do some hair, go pick up the kids from school, drop them off, drop the bus off, and go back and do some hair. And I did this for months and months and months. And I just kept telling myself, as soon as Ashley graduates, it'll get easier. As soon as Ashley graduates, it'll get easier. But man, I couldn't hang on. I really couldn't. I mean, I'm getting out. I'm getting up there in age.
At this point was where she had posted
I needed a receptionist.
That she needed a receptionist.
I did. So I needed help.
I walked into that salon and I looked straight at her and I said, "So why are you trying to give my job away?" Because we were closer by this point. Like I wasn't feeling the same way I did when she told me.
Right.
Anyway, so I was comfortable enough with her walking straight in. That was the first thing I said. So why are you trying to give away my job?
It's like, I didn't know she wanted to do that. She was going to school. She has 2 kids, you know, and it's like, I wanted other hairdressers, but damn, it is near impossible to find hairdressers in Shelby County. I don't know what is up with that. So if you are a hairdresser or a potential hairdresser and you would like to come work with us, please drop a note in the comment section and or call, and we can set something up. But yeah, it was just damn near impossible to find any hairdressers, so I needed help. And the only type of help I could think of is somebody to do office work so I could spend more time behind the chair. And Ashley started doing all that, which was really good, I think, because you got kind of the inside before you were ever even out of school. Right. And you knew working in a salon what you were getting yourself into. Right. So I think that really helped you out a whole lot. But I couldn't hang on any longer, and I kept trying to because of you. I mean, I didn't want to let it go.
Blaming it all on me.
No, I did. I was hanging on because
blaming
of you.
All her stress and strife.
Because the whole time it's like, here I in my head, I convinced this girl to go to school. She's gonna come work with me when she's out, and I'm not gonna have a place for her to even go. You know, it's like. So Ashley finally, she knew. I mean, because I did share my thoughts and my problems with her.
Well, not only that, but then you started having your health issues with your sinuses too.
That's true. That's true, and that was miserable.
And that was, I think that, I mean, wasn't that the deciding factor? They told you were going to have surgery.
Yes.
And it was going to put her off for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And there was no way.
No.
There was absolutely no way, because even if as I had agreed to come in and do the office work and stuff for her as an intern, so she wasn't.
Yeah, but
like she wasn't out money on me.
You're not doing services.
If you're not doing services, you're right.
So yeah, that was the deciding factor. I had forgotten all about that. So Ashley set me down and said, "Listen, you just need to close." But she had an option for me. She said,
I'm the planner.
This is a cute little salon, and they just opened up in Shelby County inside the Gatsby, and they're looking for booth renters." And I'm like, oh. And I hung on to that place because of everything that I had been through. I mean, we're talking, this was the 3rd salon within like 6 years, 5 years. I spent 2 years in the basement, 2 years in the White House, and I just signed this lease for 3 years, and it hadn't even been a year. And it was like I was letting go of a dream. It was so hard for me to let go because I put all my effort, my every bit of time that I had into this place. That was my life for a long time, and it was like I didn't want to give up on it, but I had no choice. I had to give up on it. So I contacted the girl that owned, I don't even know the name.
Beauty parlor.
The beauty parlor. I contacted her and I met with her, and she agreed to rent a booth. And so I closed my shop and rented a booth. And of course, I couldn't get rid of this girl. She'd come up after school and hang out with me. And I'm like, maybe I can convince her to rent you a booth, or we can share my chair when you get out of school. So that's what we had planned, is that you're going to share my chair. She was just had no idea what we were planning behind the scenes. But that's what we were planning. And I think we did actually ask her, and she had agreed. So then you graduated and you started sharing my chair with me.
Now, at first it was just sharing her chair, and then I met her and we kind of clicked, we vibed.
And you started sharing her chair.
We kind of set up our schedule to where I was kind of bouncing back and forth. So I had my own little rolling station that I would roll back and forth. And we made it work. It was a very, very small space. And little did we know how everything was going to go down. So
we were only in there for what? Like, I went in there in October or November.
Yeah.
And you graduated in January. And then.
So I got my license in January. I graduated in January. I was gung ho to get all of my stuff done and all my tests done, because we have to take 2 separate tests after we graduate to get our license. So we have to go through and take a written test, and then we have to go through and take a practical test after that. Once you pass your practical test, you have your license. So I got my license in February of 2020.
Was it 2020?
Yes, because I had my license for a month.
Yeah.
When the world shut down.
Yeah. So the world shut down.
Yeah.
After she had her license for a month.
Yep.
And then we got a phone call or a text. I don't know which one it was. I think it was just a text.
I think so.
Saying, hey, when they open back up, I'm not going to open the shop back up. And I'm thinking, well, shit. Here we go again. More stuff that I have to worry about. And so I looked at Ashley and I said, listen. I said, if I can convince her to let me take over this lease and the landlords are good with it, I will open the shop back up, but I am not doing it by myself. You're going to have skin in the game too. And she did. So
see what I mean by like everything just kind of fell.
Yeah.
The way that it was supposed to.
So when we opened back up under the Beauty Pros again. But I dropped the depot off of there. And so we have been the Beauty Pros ever since. It's been, 3 years now?
Oh my gosh, it has.
3
It's been almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm close.
Yes, it does. So we were in that building for 2 years, and we knew that they were not going to. I see a pattern here. People not wanting to renew their leases with me. What's wrong with me? No, we needed a bigger space. Honestly, the building that we were in, their vision for that started to kind of crumble, and so they decided they wanted to.
I don't think it really crumbled. I think it just didn't really. We didn't see ourselves going in the same direction that they were, which is fine.
Well, crumble. I mean, they did want it as little shops, but it was to their defense. The world had just opened back up,
right?
And so it's like nobody was opening up small businesses anymore. So, I mean, it kind of crumbled. Their vision kind of crumbled, but they're very intelligent people and they have entrepreneur spirits as well. And they took that negative and turned it into a positive.
Right.
And so, but what they were wanting was more of a one whole business instead of separate little businesses. And so we kind of decided that it'd be best if we took our salon, which they were okay with us staying there, but there was no foot traffic. It was inside of one building, and we relied on the foot traffic from those individual shops to know that we were in there. And because that foot traffic had gone, our business was starting to go. And so that's when we had decided that we needed to either close forever, because I was not going to go look for another place, or by myself, and or find another place. And you weren't willing to give up at this time, because I was kind of just willing to give up, and you wouldn't let me give up. And so here we are, almost a year later.
Ever since you've known me, I haven't let you give up now.
So we've been in this building now for A year. It'll be a year next
in
month.
April.
Yeah. And by the way, do you know today's my wedding anniversary? Just a little side note.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. 11 years. Years.
That's all we have for today. We have so much more coming. So if you like content like this,
slap that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Ding! So you'll be alerted to all of these crazy videos we've got in store for you. That's a good one. And just remember to always enjoy.
if you'd like to book an appointment with us, I'll put our information here on the screen. You can book at www.beautyprosalon.com. You can also call or text us on the numbers provided to you on the screen.